Hey, does everyone have their EI key? Did everyone find it? Know where to get it?
You know how to get it?
Is it that?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So everyone's
Got it.
Is there a lost and found here? Well, I'm just gonna put them back in the.
Yeah, just put them back. Probably best. Bujumbura. How's it going, guys?
No, I haven't tried it because it says that you're always supposed to do it every 10 minutes when there's one here.
Oh, so you gotta wait.
No, it says not send a request. It says I query URL and then device one query URL to the URL which was requested. And if you not get a response from the server, you cannot try to repeat it. That means you're
Yeah, so we gotta make sure they get it right the first time.
Like you did for last time, remember that?
Oh, okay, because it was already here, like, already there.
Yeah, but you gotta first.
I think it's
And then I think it wants you to like put a paragraph tag or some kind of text tag around it and then put that. So yeah, so take that data and then put it into like a HTML or a paragraph tag and then insert that. Yeah.
There's a limitation of one call per 10 minutes.
Oh, that.
Because of whether it's
Yeah.
So we don't they call it a better response. Save the data. Then we save this. They basically apply to form. Oh, it's probably cache. Are you wait? Because sometimes you get like a 302 because you're already made them. I mean, if it works, you know, that's fine. As long as you can keep making the request and get a body. Yeah, sure, that works.
So you're gonna want to look at their API docs and you should be able to give it like a city.
Yeah, it's probably the same data you're getting over and over again.
And then it will show you what
maybe
you're gonna pass in for a city.
Like you're making the request, but the server is sending the same thing every 10 minutes. Yeah, exactly.
Right, so it takes whatever you give it, and then I get into like Google Maps API or something like that.
Either Jonathan. So I kind of came across this and I was trying to do for each, and like, I was typing this, or I was typing the text here too, we just add multiple things to that div, but it only adds the last one, and that's exactly what I did.
Okay, go back.
What you said was good.
Right, so you're saying that you wanna get every div tag and
Yeah, did you sign up already? Okay.
so maybe.
So login, you're kind of excited.
Well, I don't know what, I just like
Oh,
typing.
okay, so go ahead and
And doing that, I can also missing issues.
And you
Like I
have-
can also log all of
But you
them.
only have one.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to, so what are you trying to do?
I was trying to use
Oh, okay, so here's what text does, is it, so in this case, okay, so.
So
that.
Oh, okay.
So inside of here, you put like that text plus. So you get like, what's already there?
So, yeah, you don't really have to work here.
Yeah, when you want to use console.
Yeah, where are you? Well, unless you need to reuse that. Or do you
Okay, so there's no like, when I create the application, we go out and list of I wouldn't buy it,
Yeah, I sent it.
Which one is it?
Because you have that item, you have that done. So after this, you got done, and then after. While you're learning, yes. This uses something already different.
What do you?
Oh, okay. Yeah, ours, yeah, ours is different. I think, try that. See if it works. I might try
This weather is very.
So in order to get the call back,
Well, you need to very, very tough. You want to get intimidated? You start at the top. The latitude to respond to
yeah, my thing was that I mean, I just assumed it would go back to God, but I didn't know whether I feel like my colleagues, like certain objects.
I remember I said, university,
So for example, so if you add a number to it,
great. So I could try
You don't need that. Just one.
yes, that's next.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get.
Okay, so for now. Oh yeah, see,
You is,
Okay.
Long City.
I think you guys have like 3 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Okay, guys, we have another 30 seconds. If everyone, we have another 30 seconds. If you didn't get there, that's fine. We'll get lots more opportunities to practice. Just kind of make a mental note of where you are. And we're going to be laptops down very soon. Okay, everyone. Okay, guys, let's review the solution as a group. Okay, everyone? Guys? I get it, you're close. You guys want another 1 minute? Okay, 1 more minute. 2 minutes. I'll give you guys 2 more minutes. How are you doing? So I think that's what John was
That's what it looked like. David was able
Yeah,
See, this also confuses me.
yeah, we'll do that. Okay, guys. Let's bring that to a close, everyone. Oh, wait, you have another 30 seconds. My fault. Write down your problems. Don't get too into the weeds, guys. We're about to stop. It was the okay, guys, we have to stop. You can help him with this issue later. Sorry. We're going to review it as a group, and then we can help you get you straightened out individually later. Yeah, so, yeah, we'll help you guys out individually if you still have questions about that. For now, we are going to laptops down for a second. Then we'll all discuss this as a group, make sure nobody misses anything, everybody's focused. Come on, guys. Perfect. That was like the quickest one yet. We were missing one. Good. Nelson? We're going to review it as a group, then we'll help you out with any problems you have later. So, how did you guys, first of all, like, how did that go for you guys? What problems did you run into? Yeah.
I ran into a problem where, for example, like the main section has different properties on there.
Mm-hmm.
I got confused whether, you know, you want to get, for example, main, win, the other attribute. I don't know whether you put the three properties in the same line when you're kind of call it back, or, you know, I don't know how to phrase it out.
So the question was.
Yeah, he's referring to traversing the object that you get back as a response.
Oh, okay. So, and what didn't you understand specifically about that?
Well, I got a little confused because I didn't know whether how to call back information within the information.
Okay, so we talked about that a little bit, the JavaScript dot notation. So JSON is made of what? What are the two data structures in JSON? Anybody? Objects and arrays. So objects we access by their keys, right? And arrays we access by their indexes. So I'm going to take a look at this actual example, and then maybe that will help answer your question a little bit more. So here's what we're doing, right? We have our API key. We have our query string. We're passing it in this URL, and then we're just adding the query string to the end of it here, right? Does that make sense to everyone yet? How we're constructing the API query. We're just giving it the name of these two cities, Bujumbura, Burundi. Burundi, a country?
Might be the state.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, we're giving it this city and whatever it is, and it's going to give us back the weather. So then Melvin's question, guys, Melvin's question was, how do we access the data? It gives us back this JavaScript object, but it's kind of hard to sometimes figure out how to get the data back from out of the object. So use it using JavaScript dot notation. You'll use the indexes if it's an array, and you'll use the keys if it's an object. So you're basically traversing those two basic data structures, objects and arrays. If it's an array, you use the indices, the number for the indices. If it's an object, you use the key, right? So we can see here, we've got the response object, and then we're calling the win property of the response object for this example here, and then that returns another object, and then we get the speed property of that, right? Then we're getting main, there's a main object, and it's humidity. So does this kind of make sense to you, the way we're doing this?
I'm understanding, but like, for example, I put the response.main.humidity, but I didn't get back humidity. I got like object, and I wrote it exactly.
Response.main. Well, that might have been an object. So the best way to figure this out is to log it to the console. So we're logging the response to the console, right? So let me try to open this for you guys. Okay.
Guys, another thing you can do is set a breakpoint right after the then function, or the callback function. And then
Yeah, but we haven't looked at sources. We haven't really reviewed sources tab yet as a class, so I want to keep them doing console for now, and then we'll get into reviewing like all of sources tab as a class. Okay, so here's our Bujumbura example. Here is our south. Here's our index. Okay, so you can see it prints out the wind speed and all this different stuff, but also to the console, it's going to print out some other things, right? Console. Okay, so the first thing that we're console logging is the result object itself, which we can see here. So this line 36 here, can everyone see this? Do you guys want it bigger, or can you all see?
You can see? Okay. So on line 36, we're logging the response to the console. That's the JavaScript object that we're getting back as a response from the web service that we're connecting to. So that's what this is. It tells us here even that it's on line 36. Can all of you see that? Do you want this part bigger? A little bit? Good? Good? Yeah? Okay. So we have this object here. So this is what you can do, Yamil. You can look at this object. This shows you what is the whole structure of this. So what was the thing that we were trying to get, the wind speed?
Yeah.
Okay, humidity, and that was, so you can see here to get the wind speed, we have an object called wind, and it gives us two different things. It tells us what direction the wind is blowing and what speed it's blowing at, right? And then to get the, what were we looking for again? I'm sorry. The humidity is in main. So we can see that main is a property of this response object that we're getting back. And then if we expand it, that main is in of itself an object, right? Because we can set properties to other objects. So we can have nested objects, right? So that's what we have here. We have a nested object in main. And then each of these properties is not a nested object. It's just an integer. So if you had done response.main.humidity, in theory, it should have worked. There's a million and one things that can always go wrong when you're writing software. So it's hard to know what it was. Maybe you misspelled it. Maybe there's some missing syntax there. And that happens to us sometimes, and we just have to keep kind of going until we find the problem. So, but I think you had the right idea at least. You know?
Yeah, because some of them work. So I figured that I was getting information from the JSON files.
Yeah.
So I figured it was working. So when I tried to do that main.humidity,
Yeah.
I would just get back objects. So I was like, I didn't know how it was.
Yeah, I'd have to get with you with that individually to see what was going on. But I think you're on the right track. Just some little thing probably went wrong. So what other problems did we run into with this? Anyone else want to share?
I just have a question. Why is it that when you collapse main, the order of the value pairs change? Is it just the way that the Chrome console is?
Didn't see that. So when I collapse main, what happens?
It goes from 10 pressure, you expand it and
Oh, okay, because this just shows us everything that's in our object collapsed in a single line. And then when I expand it, it shows them alphabetized. Yeah, so it alphabetizes them when it's expanded. When it's collapsed, are they alphabetized backwards?
No, I think that's the way that it comes in.
Oh, that's the way it comes in. So it shows them in the natural order in one line, and then when you expand it, it alphabetizes them. No problem. And who else wants to share a problem they ran into? Yeah.
Question. Maybe I missed this along the way, but I saw now in the solve when you're like changing HTML to .html, the text is just the text. I guess I was kind of using them interchangeably, so that's wrong to do that, right?
It's not wrong. It's not the best way to do it. You can do it that way. Typically, the reason why we have these two things, HTML and text, did everyone hear that question? She was asking, you can either set the HTML, so jQuery gives you a method called .html. So I could select a div with the ID of my div, hashtag my div, .html, and then use that to change the text or the HTML of it, or I can just do text, and that only changes the text. The reason jQuery is made this way is because of the way the DOM works. The DOM has text nodes, and then it has element nodes. So the text is also considered a node too. So when you do the text method, it updates a text node. When you use the HTML method, it updates an element node.
So
But
like adding LIs, I should use the HTML.
you should use HTML or use append. My recommendation would be use append. That's the better way to do it. Because sometimes you won't want to overwrite the HTML, you'll just want to change it. Okay, Lucas, and then you guys. Okay.
It wasn't clear to me where to get the URL.
Okay, so you get that. Did anyone else have that problem? Could anyone else not find the URL? Okay, Nelson too. Pedro too. Okay, great question, guys. So we get the URL. Would anybody like to share where we got the URL from for the people who did get it? Yeah.
From the API documentation.
Right, from the API documentation. So you were supposed to go to the website for Open Weather and read their documentation. Then it tells you how to put the URL together. So basically, there are different parameters that you can use to get different kinds of things. Let's pull up that site so we can all take a look at it together. No, what we're talking about is putting together the URL so we know what parameters to pass in. Because the parameters aren't standardized, right? Every API has their own parameters. So one site might call, say, IMDb, if they have an API, they might call title the thing to search for. If you have a title, someone else might call it like movie name or something like that. So it's completely at the discretion of the people making the API what they want to name their parameters. So the way that we know what they're called is we go to their website and read the documentation and then find out what the parameters are called so we know how to get back to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just looking at the console.
You do the easier, the harder one.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do the
Yeah,
hard
and
one.
And the
that's
harder
the
one doesn't give
confusion.
you the actual.
Oh, okay. So the harder one doesn't give you the URL. So let's take a look at how we get the URL. Basically, we go to open weather API docs. Okay, API. This internet is painfully slow. I apologize, everyone.
Go to the footer, it has getting started. I'll just start.
Yeah, typically on most APIs, they'll have a big tab that says docs. So get your API key. So where's the docs, though?
It's right up there, though, the API form.
How do I get to the documentation, TS?
For developers.
Sorry?
You were on that main page.
Okay, so go back one page. But this is an API. Okay, so where am I looking? Okay. Yeah, so this is what you have to do. You have to go on their website. You have to find out basically where the documentation is. This is where I just was. Where?
Each one of the options.
Scroll up a little bit. Underneath the orange and white.
Oh, okay. So each of these has their own. So say we want current weather data and not forecast data. So each of these has their own API docs. So you go and you read this documentation and it will tell you how to use their API. Right? So this is where we get the URL. You can either get it by ID. If you want it for a certain city, it'll tell you how to do that. They have a parameter for zip code, so you can pass it in a zip code. So you go and read this page. Let me bump this up, make it a little bigger for you guys. So basically, you can get it by lat long, you can get it by zip code. They give you a bunch of different parameters to search for the weather in different ways. And you find out how to construct these URLs by going to their site and reading about it. Does this make sense to everyone? So see, you can get it by lat long. This is how you would get it by lat long, and then it shows you the type of response you would get, etc. Okay? Any other question? Who else would like to share a problem they had? Problem they ran into. I promise somebody else from the team probably ran into it as well.
Can you access to the object by the console log? Sorry, by the console?
Yeah, but we're going to talk about what problems we ran into first. Okay, so anyone else want to share the problem they ran into? Oh, nobody? Why are you guys so shy?
My problem was I followed that, I put my API key, but then it says unauthorized.
Okay, that's a good one. So you copied the API key exactly that it just gave you and it said unauthorized.
Yeah, I did it.
Huh. I wonder why. Yes. Yeah, you might have to do it again. Sometimes you run into weird problems like that, so you just have to get an API key again. That happens. What other problems did you guys run into?
I was just using the liquid on the HTTP in the beginning because I found it like that.
Oh, yeah. So that's, you always have to put the HTTP at the beginning. That's it. What else? Would you like to share your problem one?
I guess it was more also related to like.
You're using jQuery, yeah.
jQuery, yeah. I had this in my homework as well that I was trying to like kind of do and append multiple like list items, and it would append all of them, but only with the text of the last one instead of like 4 different ones. Yeah, and I had a similar problem now where it just listed the last item of the two that I was calling, and it was just like a syntax error writing it.
Cool. Thanks. Anyone else want to share a problem you ran into?
have a problem with the assignment. I only had a problem with the actual instructions because I got a little confused as to what I was supposed to do.
Okay, yeah, and the instructions can be confusing. I'm actually not a huge fan of a lot of the way these instructions are written.
Yeah.
So, yeah, cool. Anyone else? Sam, you had a good one with the .done part? You got confused by that?
You wanted to actually get into it.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. We are absolutely going to get into it. Go ahead, Sam.
Alright,
Explain.
so basically I was doing the Ajax call, but I forgot to do the done method and pass it to you.
Right. So the reason I thought of that was because we were talking about how this course is sort of badly written in certain places.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but there are a few things that I would change. Altogether, it's a really good course. I like the way it works, but there are a few things that I would change. One is that we're using this Ajax method, and you pass it in an object with the get method. We don't really have to give it the get method because that's the default. That's one thing. And this .then is a totally different concept in jQuery that we haven't used at all yet. That is called a promise. So a promise works kind of like a callback, but it chains on a method instead of passing it in a callback function. So you guys can research this. It basically promises get you out of what Jonathan mentioned. We run into a Node.js callback hell, which means that you have callbacks calling other callbacks, and it can be very easily to get confused between your different callbacks and which ones will happen first if you have certain things that are dependent. Look, Fabian's already getting confused. But yeah, it's confusing. And that's why people invented promises, so we don't have to deal with it. But when you're just learning, it might be easier for you guys to use just the jQuery's .get method. So to do the same thing that we're doing here, we could just use .get, and then we give this two parameters. We don't have to give it an object. We just give it the URL. So it would be our query URL, and then it would be the callback function. Query URL, and then we would just pass it in the function that we wanted to do things when we call it back. Does that kind of make sense to everybody, what we just discussed? I know it's a little confusing, sorry. So these are just two different ways to do the same thing. We have the get method and then the Ajax method, so they do the same thing. This one is a little simpler, this first one that I showed you guys. Any questions on that? Yeah. So .then and .done. So I think the difference is that done is when everything is done, and then is when one thing finishes. That's a great question. I don't. TAs, do you know the answer to that? Difference between.
With the then you can actually return another promise and concatenate many thens and do another request, then do another one.
Right.
A chain of thens. And the done is just
is the final one that doesn't return.
Whether there is an error or not.
Because you could do, I think, .then or .error, and then
if there is an error with a request, the then function will never be
right. Yeah. Thank you, Tia. So that's the difference. .then only returns when it gives you back a response. When you get a 200 message, which means that the page is okay. You're getting the right page. You get a 404, a 500. There's some type of error where you don't get the information back from the server. Then the then won't fire. You would attach another method, .error, I think it's .error. So then you would attach a .error method, so then you would handle the error. You would show your users a method that says, hey, we couldn't get the data. Sorry. You know what I mean? If you use .done, it will do the same thing whether it works or not. Make sense? Yeah.
So would you, is there a similar way to do, I guess you would just put it into your callback function for your get method. You were to do that.
If you wanted to, sorry?
If you were to use the $.get instead,
yeah,
you would just handle all of that stuff within your callback function.
Yeah, you would get the status code, so it gives you
actually with the when you use the shorthand, you can't get the status code.
Oh, you can't get.
So you have to depend on the response telling you it's an error or it's like.
Yeah, so you don't have. So Ajax gives you more flexibility, so that will show you if it's an error or not. With the get, you don't have a way to really handle errors. Yeah. Thanks, Tiaz, for refreshing my memory. So we've taken a lot more time on this than I had originally intended to. Are there any other questions on this? Any other questions? Okay, we're going to move on. You guys have another exercise to work on. we are going to go to movie app. No, we're gonna skip that and do dynamic movie layout. So basically, and while they're slacking that out, I can show you guys as a class. And I would like everyone to pretty much do the easier, so that way we can all be on the same page and get it all complete and talk about the problems we have and everything. So for this one, I think that you will be using the OMDB API. Is that right? Yeah. Function for displaying movie data. Okay, no, so there is no AJAX involved in this. I'm sorry. All you're going to do is you have this array of movies. You're going to create a button for every movie. So you have to loop over this and create a button. Oh, I get it. So you have inside your movies view div up towards the top. There's already some content. It wants you to delete that content. So there's nothing in there now, but if you wanted to, so let's say we wanted to remove the content of a element. Say an element has some content in it, like our movie div, and we want to remove it. Anyone know how we would do that? Dot empty is a good one. There are several different ways to skin a cat, though. So yeah, you could do that too. Many ways to skin a cat. Yeah. I don't think we'd get much front-end development done. Yeah. Or maybe it would be like the early days of Facebook, like they show in the movie, where everyone's just getting drunk constantly. Okay, so everyone clear on what we're doing here? We're adding buttons. We're making the buttons do stuff.
Oh, no, that's not. I think this is showing how.
Okay, sure.
Oh, it's a good. Yeah, that line. But then you should be able to just yeah, this is just yeah, it's a strength.
So that gets whatever's inside of that. Well, what is that? Is that
So here's one problem, you only declare this variable, so declare this variable up here, and then every time you do it, you set.
That's not.
Oh,
right. Yeah, so I'll grab whatever's inside of that. Oh, actually, no, it's
Yeah.
so you got shot. Yeah. Right, you see the value of
Yeah, that's
This way.
What do I say?
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's what
So that's the thing, so let's start on the
Now try to.
Where do you want? Oh, because you get it, you can do it like that. Instead of giving the value of the one, so here, put it inside those four variables. Don't input I used to do that, but let's say
Oh, you have to.
yeah, you have to change.
It's really nice. They just give us this. Like how to access.
Oh, yeah. So basically, you click the top of.
Oh, yeah, you do.
So let's.
That's exactly.
Insert a space.
Have text and
So the first step was to empty the second step was to put stuff in
Okay.
But like from the other.
and before this you want to write down. Okay, yeah. No, because I know we always the value of this information. So it'll feel like you're missing things, you start to see more, and then it's gonna feel awkward, but in a way that's like yeah, that's so. That's my fault. I told him I was going to do
I know, but then I watched it on the TV.
Listen, so that's a part of it.
And I was in
Rated,
and
It takes whatever you have here and it adds it to your
And then,
and then,
oh, you guys are.
that's the part that we do. Which I just wrote. We just wrote this is the function right here that is called right here. Basically says, all right. I don't worry about this. I want to do
It's gonna feel awkward. It's gonna feel
It's going to say, all right, add that to.
Okay, guys, let's bring that to a close. So, everyone, laptops down, please. Appreciate your help, everyone. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. You're so helpful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sam. Sam.
Laptops
Laptop down.
I didn't hear you say that.
All right. Well, I'm not going to beat you guys over the heads with it this time, but I will later. Yes, there will be a time when I do. Okay, so this is the solved example. So what we were doing here, we have an array of strings, right? And the strings are what? Movie titles, right? And so we know they're movie titles. And what we want to do is make them into buttons and put the buttons on the page. Everyone with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how we do this. We're going to make a function called render buttons. We define a variable called a. This is left undefined right now. We're just declaring it, not defining it. Sorry. And then we're going to use the empty method, as you said, Mario, to empty the div in case there was anything in there, which there isn't in this case. They just wanted to confuse us even more, I guess. We're going to empty it. So if there was anything inside of that div, we're going to take it out and delete it, right? Then we're going to use our friend, the for loop. Everyone remember the for loop? Yeah. So we're going to say first our I is going to start at 0. We're going to start counting at 0, and we're going to count all the way up till we have the movies.length, till we're up to the length of our movies array. And each time we're going to increment I once. So then we set our a variable that I set on top to equal a new button in jQuery. You guys all remember when I put the HTML into the jQuery, it creates new HTML. It just stores it in the memory. It doesn't put it into the DOM yet, right? You guys all remember that part? Okay, cool. So then we're going to, with this new button, we're going to add a class to it. The class is going to be movie. Then we're going to add a data attribute too, and that's going to be the movie that we're on. So movies is the name of our array, and then I is the index that we're giving it, right? Does that part make sense to everybody? We've all looped over arrays before.
So then why are we doing the data name attribute?
So the data name, that's for, remember we use data attributes when we have data about something that we want to pass in. So this is because we're probably going to do something with these later, and we're going to need the movie name. Like maybe when you click on the movie, it'll go to OMDB and get you some information about the movie. So we need to know what the movie name is in order to do that. So that's why we're doing that. Then we're going to set the text also to the movie name using the I indice of the movies array, right? And then what is the last step that we have to do? Anyone want to explain what 58 does? It appends it to the div. So when we do this, what do we think is going to happen? It's going to make a button for what? For all of them. Right. And then the other part is about how to add like a custom button with this field. I don't think we even want to cover that right now. Do you guys feel pretty good with just this part? Do you want to get more advanced with this? Or yeah, no, I think you guys seem good with just this. So any questions on what we did here? Add a...
Is there a shorter way of going about this, or do you recommend this step?
No, I do not recommend this step-by-step approach. There is a shorter way. We're not going to cover that now, unfortunately, because it might be in a lesson. I'll check and see if it is in future lessons. If not, I'll make sure you guys get to know it. But it's good to know like this sort of step-by-step approach too. This is productive and helpful. Just learning to do it like this. So any more questions? Would anybody like to share a problem they ran into when coding this exercise? Okay. Any idea why that happened? Did you get into the weeds with it? Yeah. And then you're gonna have time. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't do that step by step. Honestly, we created the buttons for each movie in just one line of code, and it worked.
We didn't add classes or attributes, just like plain
old text. Yeah. Okay, well we can look into that a little more later. Sam.
So I needed to grab the input from the text box, and I was attempting to do that by using the jQuery thing .text. And then I asked Jonathan, he said to use .val.
Mm-hmm.
So we did.
Yeah, so use the text box. So you can use .val. .val gets you the value of the property. Sorry, what was the first part of the same? What were you using?
.text.
Okay. Yeah, so to get the value of a form element, like a text input or a radio button input, you use .val. You were using that one, Mappy.
Yeah, and I used it in this example, but it also didn't return.
Okay. Well, that's the tricky. What about just this part, making the buttons? Did anyone run into problems with just making the buttons? You guys were all good with that. Okay, awesome. So maybe, yeah, let's just look at their code a little bit for how they did that since we had questions on that. So you have an add movie button. Let's actually, yeah. So you have an add movie button. You're going to bind a click event to it, right? Did you guys get this part? Okay. So what were Mappy and Lauren? What was the what are you guys figuring out?
We did that. We made it a variable to the reference. We did that variable dot push movies. Maybe we just had it backwards.
Oh shoot! No wait.
Yeah, movies dot push movie.
So we had we pushed it to the array.
Okay, so is everyone understanding what they did? So you have your movies. That's the array of all the movies. To add this, so we're making a variable called movie. That's getting the input, the value of our movie input field, right? And then we're going to trim it to remove any extra white space. Then we're going to push it to our movies array. So we do movies dot push, and then we're passing it in movie. This new string that we just got from the movie input. And then we call render buttons again, and it prints out all the buttons again.
Wait, so do you suggest us always using .trim for grabbing the value from a text box?
You don't have to. You don't really have to. The one place where it is important is when you're actually submitting the forms to a server, because then hackers will get in and try to inject code. So you have to basically what we call sanitize this string, which means you take out anything that could be potentially harmful or do something. Okay, so we're going to get straight into another exercise if we don't have any more questions on that. Any more questions on that, guys? You guys all pretty good with that? So if I asked you guys, I said, I'm going to pay you $1,000 if you can make me a web page with buttons on it from an array in half an hour. You guys would all do it? You would get the $1,000 bucks? Okay, that's what it is. We just don't have the right motivation for you guys yet. But listen, you will get paid $1,000, several $1,000 to do web apps just like this, a little bit more complicated. So hang in there, guys. It's coming. Okay, so we are going to move right into okay, so dynamic movie layout. So let me just open up this next one. Okay, long movie name. Okay. So everyone, we're going to do another in-class activity. However, I would like to try a slightly different format for it this time, just as a sort of experiment, and we can try it out, and you guys can let me know how you liked it, and maybe we'll start doing this in class more often. The way that we're going to do this works with something called mob programming, which is based on pair programming. Pair programming comes from the idea that there are different parts of your brain that do different processes. So the part of your brain that drives is very different from the part of your brain that navigates. There's lots of research on this to prove it. Similarly, the part of your brain that actually uses the mouse and keyboard to write code is very different from the part of your brain that actually figures out what code to write, and that is very separate from the part of your brain that figures out all of the high-level logic and how it works. So some programming coaches, which is actually a thing, there are actually people who just coach programmers. They figured out that we can separate these two things. We can have one person just doing the high-level logic and one person just using the mouse and keyboard. The one person basically just tells the other person what to write.
Ah, so like a strategist with the code.
Right, yeah. So pretty much that. So you're just isolating these different parts of your brain, so that way you can strengthen them. Kind of like when you work out, you isolate different muscle groups so you can strengthen them.
Yeah, but Cody won't give me a bikini body.
Yeah, no. But it can buy you a bikini. You can pay for a gym membership. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this, guys. We're going to have one person from the class come up and use my laptop to write code. The rest of the class, you're going to be telling that person what to write. The person up here will not be thinking at all. Just using Yes! Okay. You have the option. Well, you can just use this, the trackpad and keyboard. It's not this one. It's just this one.
Okay.
The laptop. Mouse does nothing.
Okay, got it. Cool.
Okay. So that's Mr. Melvin. Scroll down, please. So what we're going to be doing here, we're rendering our buttons. We're doing basically the same thing. Let's scroll down a little bit more. This is the same as the exercise we did before. I'm reading the instructions with you guys. I'm in the same boat as you. So what does this do exactly? TAs, can you read the instructions for this so we know what we're doing?
Slack it out.
Yeah, Slack it out as well. That's good. And you guys can open your laptops for this.
Maybe some of the exercise too.
This is log movie name. Actually, log movie name. So you guys are getting instructions. When you get them, would somebody please read the instructions for the class?
Using the starter code provided, create the missing code snippets so that the alert movie name function. Necessary to calculate the movie name for both the original and.
What? Okay, so you have an original and new button. Okay, so here's what we want to do. We made our movie buttons, right? We're putting them on the page already. That's what we did in the last exercise. Now what we want to do is when we click on them, we know something's going to happen. And we know we're going to need the movie name to make that something happen. So right now we're just going to write a little bit of code to test this out, to make sure that we can get the movie's name when we click on the button. Make sense to everyone? Okay. So let's see. How are we going to do this? We know we have our alert movie name. So how is this going to work?
Well, just to make it a little bit more dry, we're going to do better to attach the on-click to each button as we're creating them.
Yeah, that would make it more dry. Or can you scroll down a little bit, Melvin? Yeah, we could do it that way, but let's try to follow the way they did it. There's obviously a lot of different ways to do things here. Yeah, scroll down. Sorry, this is confusing. So we're rendering.
It keeps resetting me up.
If you want, you can plug in that mouse. Just don't.
Okay.
Let's see.
Hold on.
You got it? Okay.
I'll just use the arrow keys.
Yeah, use the arrow keys. Good. Okay. So yeah, you could do it that way, Mario. We're not going to do it that way. We'll just follow what they're doing so that way you don't get confused. So right now we just want a function that gets the movie's name. I don't know where we're calling that function from. Does it say that anywhere in the instructions where we're calling the function from, or if we're attaching an on-click event to each of the movies?
The click event is already attached.
Oh yeah. So where? So let's find out where we're doing that. Where are we attaching the click events?
Oh, my class.
There.
So what line is that?
15.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that's not right because you should be passing. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do, guys. If you go, the only part we have to fill in here is the alert movie name. So if you go back up to our alert movie name function, Melvin, we're assuming that we're calling this function somewhere. So let's first, so we can figure out, because this is a problem we'll run into a lot. We'll be using other people's code. We'll somehow find ourselves immersed in other people's code, and we won't know exactly how they did things. So we have to figure it out. So right now, what we have to figure out is where they're calling this alert movie name function from. So yeah, so can you just search for it though, Melvin? Do a find.
It's on line 88. No.
So line 88. So we can see we're attaching a click event to any button that has a class of movie or any element for that matter that has a class of movie, and then we're calling our alert movie name function. So that's what we're calling alert movie name. So that tells us how we can use this. So now if we go back up to our alert movie name, this is the callback function, right? You guys are familiar with callback functions? Somewhat, you should be. So does anyone remember from our previous examples how we get the element that was just clicked when we attach an on-click function? This, right? So we use the contextual this, and then to make it into a jQuery element.
What do you want?
How do you get the current element that was clicked on? So if you want to get the element that was
$sign has the function. $sign inside the parentheses this.
Okay, did everyone hear what Nelson said? $sign and inside the parentheses this. So that's how you get the element that was just clicked on. So if we want to get the data attribute for a movie, for the element that was just clicked on, Nelson just told us the first part. So how are we going to write this line of code? Anyone? Okay, so are we all in agreement that what Nelson said is going to be the first part? We want to get the element that was just clicked on? Yeah, so everyone tell them no. Oh yeah, let me fix that for you. I gotta get you guys like a better mouse and keyboard. Okay, so $sign parenthesis.
Yes. Data.
Yeah, you can use that data. We'll do it that way. Data.
Data.
Oh.
Then what? Parenthesis. Then what?
But the data was data of name.
Yeah, name was name. That's what we called that data attribute. Anyone remember?
Yeah, data.
Data dash name.
Data dash marks.
Yeah, I think it's data dash name. So we just pass in. No. Yeah, and in quotation marks, it's a string, and it's going to be what? Yes. Name. Are we all in agreement with that? Anyone not understand why we're doing it this way? No, since we're using the data method. So yeah, so you're just going to type what? Guys, tell me. Name. And you guys can just shout things out when we're doing an exercise like that. You don't have to raise your hands.
Let me say this again.
Yes. That's a good point. So direct him.
Then save it as a variable.
Okay. Yeah. And what are we?
I'm sorry, I did not hear you.
Yeah, and he doesn't remember. He doesn't even know what a variable is. He has to like spell things out. He barely knows how to spell. I mean, not you.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry.
R.
You close us that name. Are we missing something at the end? Semicolon at the end. Okay, so if we want to alert the movie name, what's the next line we're going to write?
Alert. Okay. Parentheses. Movie name.
Okay, do we think this is going to work?
Yes, I hope so.
Yes, I think so. So let's test this out. I will pull it up because it's a little hard to use my crazy computer. I think we're good. Now, everyone, give your teammate a round of applause. That was awesome. No, but I can use it in the web app. I just usually don't open it. I think there's an Android app for it. You can use Android apps with this. Okay, so it works. Yay. Add a movie, bro. Okay. Bruh. Okay, guys, so we are right on schedule to go to break. Or 1 minute before. Anyone want to do something with your 1 minute before break? Want to do an exercise? Sing a song? We could like play Duck Duck Goose. No, I think we're good. We're going to take a break. We will be back. You guys want 15 or 20 this time? 20. 20, okay. Really? I thought you guys were longer. Okay, so we're back at 8:45 exactly, guys. 8:45, yeah.
Yeah, last time I was like, hey Siri, set a timer. And I was like, come in. And I was like, there's 5 minutes.
Yeah, Darby, don't do that.
There was 2 minutes.
You need a foot. Okay. I also get nervous. It's okay. It's just good. It works.
What is it? What it means for like places?
There's several other people that talk about this. And I think what happens to do is also
getting in front of a computer or a tutorial at 6:30. I go and I walk my dog for 2 hours, and then I'm driving around.
So let's look at that. So,
And then I'm
just what's in here.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I understand all of that, but I think there might be some things we can still do.
Let's say I want to set it to a variable.
And it will get to
Whatever is taken here.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, this is boot camp, right? This is meant to challenge you, so that way you will be at a very high level.
But none of them
for a
seem
short
like-
time. That's the way this program is designed. There's gonna be like somewhat uncomfortable part of it. It's gonna be a lot of work. It shouldn't be too much work that you're overwhelmed. If you feel overwhelmed, you should.
Oh, you would
I
have
have
to
a
do
Twitter
it.
and I should set up the time.
Right, so,
It's
how am I gonna access
it's
this
too
text?
late now, but
I think it's.
I'm gonna just go for a walk around the building.
I give up for, I don't know.
Oh, you wanna do it together?
Alright, so if we look at the HTML, what HTML corresponds to this text box right here?
I have no
I'm like
idea.
bring this data about it. So I'm just sitting down
I
and
get to do it because I'm lucky enough that I can sit and go and teach myself and read.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of this is like self-study. Even though you're in
So if I use my inspector,
like a traditional training program.
right? Like it's not a traditional university program where everything is just like research.
And
This is, we're giving you like what it is, but then there's also a lot.
I know, but if it's okay, if it's, you know, I used to write SOPs in my previous job because I helped manage a team. So I would tell you, this is how we do stuff, this is a contract, you know, this is to do process. However, here, and I guess that's the beauty of coding is that everything is abstract. And you will do something your way, Jonathan will do it his way, Sid will do it his way.
Well, we have the IDs, how do I call an element?
For somebody who's a novice, I've never done this before. So I literally watched 4 different tutorials that were an hour long, each developer. I mean, I had one developer saying, don't use on-click.
Let's do it
Don't use on-click. On-click's bad, only use it that.
There's some reason.
So, okay,
Yeah, but that's plain JavaScript, that's not even Java.
Yeah.
So there's a lot out there that's gonna confuse you.
I know, but in my mind, I can't move on to jQuery unless I have a solid foundation of JavaScript, which I don't have. I'm
That's not,
probably
okay, so
50%.
first of all, that's not true. Most developers learn jQuery before they learn JavaScript, because it makes it easier. What jQuery does is it abstracts the DOM API and the AJAX API. Those are two things in JavaScript that are very independent and they're very hard to use, and they're not hard to
I will
learn
tell you the
JavaScript language.
tutorial that I, from 20, and you know, Jonathan was surprised that it's from
So
2011
this is like the third
because
jQuery thing. that
he
we
goes,
have.
well, it's not that old. I said, no, it's from 2017. I watch these tutorials all the time.
I've actually.
Because he explains things in a very,
Why is it?
in
my
a step-by-step
jQuery doing
approach.
what I want?
But
Okay, so this is plain Java, so
yeah, and he says, don't use,
I forgot to put the.
you have this, and it's just what I was at first, someone.
don't use, no, don't use
I need to
on-click
use the function
because
to get the
on-clicks are
text
old
out of this
and
element.
they're gonna be
And-
outdated.
We just
So,
Yeah,
talked
so
about it
don't,
right now, but that function is gonna be,
do
you know how
stay
we
with
do
it
like
to what we're
dot,
doing classic, we tell you learn jQuery first, just to make your life easier, so you don't go crazy. So then now you're saying, no, I want to learn this thing, and I want to drive this over.
dot append, dot empty,
You know what I
those
mean?
are all
So that's what we're
jQuery.
doing to learn jQuery.
One of the things that I might want to use for that is dot,
I don't know, but,
dot VAM. What that does is if I
but
have.
there needs to be a disclaimer that people
It will
have to
take whatever is
and it's nobody's fault,
inserted
but
and.
I don't know, I think you can do this,
So,
I've seen the way you work,
as dot now,
I've seen you do it.
You're
Very
going to
analytical.
need a parenthesis for your dot now.
it's not without. I think not, I wake up, I would walk my dog,
And then
starting
you want to take
computer,
this
or TV or whatever.
and we want
I take it to
to
the park, I'm
store
listening
it
to
in a
some
variable.
type of tutorial or somebody give a lecture. That's all I do,
Yeah.
and it's,
So this
Well,
is
one, there's a lot of stuff out there
a
that,
string
so
of whatever.
probably like you want to limit the scope
I
of
like
your research to exactly like what we're working on here, like we're showing you the jQuery way of doing something.
I
You
know,
go
but
over
you
the
know what?
JavaScript.
you know why I did so well with that jQuery? Because I spent 6 hours doing 6 hours tutorial.
I'm gonna create a variable of
Right.
And you know,
bar,
mocking and more and they both.
bar, the name of
Subject
your
is, that's in
variable.
both things right now, so I'm not gonna slow them down, it's not fair.
Uh-huh.
It is what it is.
Well, you can ask questions, I mean. you
I
have
do,
to
you know,
ask
I'm very
questions.
local and I ask
Let's
questions
just,
and you
let's
saw,
just
I mean, you
leave
saw
that right there where it is and move on to the next
notes.
line and
Yeah.
we'll see what we need.
I mean, it's not just it.
A bar.
Yeah, I know.
it's gonna be a
Yeah.
jQuery,
variable.
I have jQury behind the scenes, I have JavaScript behind the scenes.
Yeah, I see all of that, I'm not arguing with you on that.
Look at the notes
Okay,
that
and
I
that's
take.
equals and whatever we want is equal, but what do we want is
Code and everything.
we want
If I
to
could
keep this
divide
stuff right.
just on
So you want to copy
on
and paste all of it.
tutorials and loops and statements and functions and what did functions.
This right here, that we said this
So
is
you're
working hard, or is it?
I would say like one thing that I haven't seen you doing is post in the group chat or post or Slack me. If you have a question, you say, hey, I'm getting confused with adding that listener and on it. You tell me the difference.
That's
Then
not
you
important.
and me or Jonathan or one of the kids, and they'll say, hey, this is the way we want to do things in class, this is what's gonna work best for you while you're learning. Yeah, that's one.
Alright.
And it's about away from conversation.
So
It's,
then
I
we
don't
want
know,
to take
I think it's
that
just
variable
true.
that we just
I just,
made
I
and we
figure
want
I might
to
it out.
Yeah, and you can do
add
this,
it
you're
to
gonna go
our
through this program.
array of
I would
I believe in you, I guess.
Yeah, believe, trust the process a little bit. This program is designed for starting off that it goes through all the information, and then it's much back and forth, from learning to hands-on. So it's making it to that way. Feel a little bit, all your the function, that learning a lot about.
Well, this is to an array. So append is a jQuery thing to add.
Oh, I can help.
Add HTML inside of HTML. Just JavaScript. How do I add how do I add
Yeah, that's fine. I
Can I use your educational media career? There you go. You did it.
You remember that?
I think the reason they tell you
So,
that is for it, so that at the end of this, you have like, just for example.
I didn't do it.
Yeah,
but
this
they
is-
said we don't do it.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that's
Apple, orange,
I'll tell them.
banana. And I want to add mango. Then I will do fruits. Dot.
Oh, you push me doing this thing?
Mango.
I threw away
And
the corner of
fruits.
that. I was actually gonna ask you. if you were
Right,
interested.
and then that.
I still haven't done And it's me.
Yeah, are you showing them how to add the boot camp? Jackie?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, the trivia part of the one was. That's the question. Well, you said the time, but you want
But not as well as what
you
you
have
said.
a timer, like the timer
Yeah.
resets.
I have to email my doctor because I just did.
So we're stratified division of activity. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Wow.
There you go.
Okay.
Just put it on.
Have you tried?
So
That's so interesting. Because someone was just telling me about that.
Oh, it's trying to do that. Oh.
She thinks that she has more anxiety than the person I was talking to.
And then, 4 hits, and you're gonna run. Whatever hits a roll, you're gonna.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that a lot at the moment, so I don't know why.
I can't figure out this one, my layout. I think I fixed this in the, just how it pushed the.
I mean, I used my fear set because of.
This one is every one thing.
It's a lighter.
The link, right? Okay.
No, I don't.
Oh, no, sorry.
I know. At first, it's like, did you get to get it?
Oh, yeah, I do that.
And then.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's it. So if you look at me up, look me up.
Jonathan, you said you were a sculptor?
Yeah,
What do you do?
artistic metalwork.
That's cool, like metal,
Yeah.
like pouring, like mold casting, or?
No, I haven't done anything with that, just welding, like bending
That's super
metal,
cool.
yeah. Just mostly work with like scrap metal, like cut it up, make stuff
That's
with
super
it.
cool. I almost majored in sculpture. I was very
Oh,
close to
really?
majoring in sculpture.
Nice.
But my carpal tunnel was like not really helpful in myself. So I
Yeah.
had to.
Yeah, I'm not
So
the best
just
with my hands.
was not a-
Do you do like painting or anything?
I do kind of like everything, but I mostly like I have like like old school work stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I do. But I've always done like mixed media stuff, like hardware stuff, sound stuff, like everything. Just a little bit of everything.
Awesome, I need to start doing more art.
It's like It's my life.
It's my life. Just that.
Just that. Do you do scuba diving?
Yeah.
You said you were
Really?
saw manta
I
rays.
saw manta rays for the first
Oh,
time in a while.
awesome. Wow.
They're amazing.
How big are they? They're like 6 feet wide.
I can't do this wide
That's
enough.
crazy. Where do you go to do it?
Well, incidentally, Tuesday I went diving for fun with some friends of mine on a boat charter in Pompano. And we got back to the dock and they said, "Hey Sam, do you want to like work on our boat as the crew?" So like now I'm shadowing to learn how they do things.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
I live in Davie, so so I show up there at 7 o'clock in the morning and I miss traffic. But yeah, Pompano. I have a friend in Boca that I go diving with a lot. Sometimes I go down to Miami Beach. I haven't been to the Keys in a while, but that's a good place to dive as well.
How much does it cost to go out for like a first time for like one lesson?
Oh, so we have what we call an experience program. It's called Discover Scuba.
Yeah.
That's for people who they're not quite sure they want to invest in getting a license.
Oh, a license.
Or a certification.
Yeah.
People call it license, the certification, but people who they don't quite want to commit to that.
Right.
That's called the Discover Scuba. And if you just want to do that in the pool, I want to say it's, what is it? It's like $125 or $150 or something like that, and it includes all the gear and
Right. But you have to get certified before you can go out in the ocean.
And so
20
Discover
hours.
Scuba, like we actually have the option to take someone to the pool first, and basically the idea is we teach them the bare minimum that we need to teach them, that they need to know so that an instructor can hold their hand the entire way.
Right.
So like, I can't, even if I'm at arm's length, I can't force you to breathe continuously, which is the #1 rule of scuba, like to not hold your breath. So that's one thing that we teach you really quickly. I can't like forcefully make you clear your mask, so that's one thing that we teach you, to get all the water out of your mask if you get water.
Oh, okay.
So we teach you all that stuff, and then once we're done in the pool, we have the option of taking someone out to the ocean. I think we're limited to 40 feet or less. Again, like very limited instructor to student ratio, just making sure that I am taking care of a whole bunch of stuff for you, so you can just try it. And I think that we charge $225 for.
So can you communicate underwater at all? Do you have like chalkboards or something like that?
Yeah, we have slates. Usually we'll use hand signals. So like, this is a question, are you okay? And then if I get this back, that means I'm okay.
Yeah.
This is something's wrong. My ear, I'm having trouble equalizing.
Okay.
Lionfish. What else? This is how much air do you have? So stuff like that.
What's the lionfish for, just in case someone sees one?
Well, they're an invasive species that I go hunting for a lot.
Oh, okay.
Like I've sold 22 pounds of them at a time.
You do spearfishing?
Yeah, I actually caught one today.
Cool.
And I caught lobsters as well, which is what I had for dinner just now.
That's like, I just caught my lobster.
Yeah. I didn't even have to pay for it. I got to dive for free because I was shadowing. And I got tipped as well.
You can make a lot of money doing that, though, right?
So lobsters, you have to have a special license to sell commercially. That is kind of like a liquor license in that they don't sell them anymore. You have to get one from someone who already has one. It's called a restricted species or something like that, an RS. I have a license in my wallet that allows me to sell any fish that is not considered a restricted species. But lobster is like, they're very highly regulated. We don't want to knock them out.
Right.
But yeah, like lionfish, like up in Pensacola, they have sheets of them. Like you go down and there's like more lionfish than there is sand. And they'll actually make decent money just selling like down here. You couldn't really make a living off of it, but some of the commercial spear fishermen who kill other things like hogfish and groupers and stuff, they'll also bring a small spear just to catch the
Do
lionfish.
people eat lionfish or is it just
Yeah.
like a novel thing?
Is it good?
They're very good. They're like better than snapper. Okay, well they're like a very white, mild, flaky fish. We make them beer battered. We make them ceviche. They're delicious. Yeah, and they're venomous, so that's the big trick is not getting stung by them. But like they're stupid, so you can like this is the lionfish. You bring your spear right up to them, right here, lining up the shot, and they don't move. They don't move. Yeah, they have their home in the Indian and Pacific Ocean, and they go out there, and that's where they can stay. And I won't go hunting them. But here, they're a big problem.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Well, I haven't, I probably just said that, so I'm just trying to get the functionality over.
Okay, 8:45. Nice. Awesome. How was your break, guys?
We're almost there.
Okay, we're back in section 2:45.
Yeah, we're back.
We're almost there, we're back.
Okay, we'll wait for the rest of the class, I guess. No, we won't. We'll get started. We don't have extra time for that kind of stuff. So how did you guys like what we just did? Our mob programming exercise. Is that pretty good? 1 to 5? 5 being the best? Okay. So you guys liked it. So you want to do it again? Want to try it again? Okay. So let us try it again. So what are we going to be doing here? TAs, could you please slack out the working movie harder? No, we'll do the easier one. Please slack out. Yes. So slack out the working movie app. Easier. Okay. So who wants to be the guinea pig? Anyone? Oh, I thought you were okay, no. Okay, so we are back. For those of you who were late returning from break, we are going to continue with our mob programming exercise that we were doing. Is everybody good with that? For those of you who got back from break, I asked for a 1 to 5 on mob programming. How did you guys like what we did just now? The format of what we did now? That was good for you guys? That worked for you guys? Okay, cool. So I'm going to need another volunteer to come up here and code. Sam. I thought that's what you were coming up here.
Yeah, well,
We needed more people to watch you. Okay. So does everyone have the instructions?
Working will be out easier.
Yeah, easier. Okay, so would somebody like to read?
Using either version of the starter code provided to you, the application so that various snippets of information are displayed underneath. As a suggestion, display at least each of the following: post, release date, and plot.
Wait, read it one more time.
Using either version of the starter code provided to you, the application so that various snippets of information about you are displayed under. As a suggestion, display at least each of the following
Okay, so I got that movie poster. So what I don't understand is it supposed to go get the data when we click on the button, or is it supposed to get the data right away? They weren't clear about that.
It shows.
I'm assuming play underneath the movie.
Underneath the movie button, but it should be, you would think it would be like an on click, it would show it, but it doesn't say that. But
Well, because there's a function wrapped around it. It's not like outside of a function.
can you scroll up a little bit? Sam? Okay.
Yeah.
Create step to hold the movie, $Ajax, do that. Wait.
I don't think I
So-
like your scrolling very much.
Yeah, you can use the arrow keys, that's what.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, but maybe I'm just used to it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'll try to set it up better for you guys.
That's okay,
next time.
no-
We'll have it
don't worry
actually-
about it,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm guessing it makes more sense to have it display when you click on the button.
Yeah, when you click on the button. So let's see what they're asking us to do. And usually, so now we pretty much know what we're doing. We can go line by line. So scroll down a little bit more, Sam, so we start to see the comments. So we have our initial movie array. So then we have a function called display movie info. They already wrote this for us. So this is basically going into, wait, is this solved? Wait, let me just make sure we don't have this solved.
No, there's
Okay, you guys have the same thing on yours?
line 50, if you start on line 53, that's when you start.
Okay, so let's just read this code. So could somebody tell me what this display movie function is doing? Go
Oh, sorry, yep.
Yeah, right here. So somebody explain what this is doing, please. Yeah, so what does that do, this display movie info?
Displays the movie on the button that you clicked on, it displays the information, or the movie that.
Right, or the movie that we're talking
that
about.
we're calling on.
Right.
That we're calling.
Yeah, and it must be a this because we're going to this.attribute data name, so this must be when the button is clicked. So yeah, so what it does when the button is clicked, we get the data name attribute, or we're going to use .data name, which would be a better way to do it. And then we're constructing our query to pass into OMDB based on the name of the movie. Right, guys? Make sense to everyone? Everyone got 5 with that, yeah? Okay. So then we do what? The next step is to send off the Ajax request. Right? You guys with that? Okay, cool. Then after that, we have our callback function, right? Our promise. And what is this? So now here's where we're going to write the code. So what are we going to do? We're going to create a div to hold the movie. We're going to retrieve the rating of the movie. We already have the rating returned to us, but we're going to go into the object that's returned to us and get out the movie rating. I could have been a bit clearer about that. So then create an element to have the rating displayed, display the rating, retrieve the year. So we're going to do the same thing for all of these. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, great. So would somebody like to tell Sam what to do?
Console log the response.
Yeah, we would have.
Yeah, first console log. Yeah, very smart. I like that. Okay, and then Sam, you're gonna have to kind of play with my computer a bit. If you go over to Chrome,
Oh,
Alt tab to Chrome.
Alt tab. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to save it first.
Or here's another way. Here's an easier way, actually. Yeah. Let's not do that.
Okay. Yep.
Back to the code. Okay. So let's get our actual URL. So if we go up and look at where query URL is defined, so we have that URL. So we can copy that and then just type in a movie name, and then we'll see in the browser the JSON and how it comes back. Does that kind of make sense? So the way you suggested, Mario, would be better, but just because my computer doesn't. Yeah, click on that.
And then.
Okay, and then new tab. And then you're gonna paste that in, and then you're gonna change the movie name part to like an actual movie name. Right?
Do we want to go to? Oh yeah, never mind.
So you're gonna make that. What's our favorite movie, everyone? Our team movie.
Moana.
Hacker? What about Hackers? That's like a computer movie or like a social network. It's a computer movie.
Is it hacker or hackers?
Hacker.
Terminator.
Terminator, yeah, Terminator. I think I'm more of a Terminator guy than a Matrix guy, actually. And they're both good, but that's interesting. Okay, how many of you guys like Terminator better? Show of hands. Than the Matrix.
Terminator 2 specifically.
Terminator 2. Okay, what about the Matrix? Okay, so I think the Matrix is the clear winner.
Don't forget the
Plus sign?
percentage 20.
Yeah, percentage 20. Awesome. Everybody remember the percent 20?
It's THE. Sam. it's
Oh,
not-
what?
File matrix. Okay, so here we have our data structure, right? So what are the things that we're getting? We're supposed to get the poster, what else does it say?
The rating.
Yeah, the rating.
Poster, rating, year release, what else? Plot. Poster, rating, year release, plot.
Wait, the poster?
Yeah, so they should give us a URL. See that? So it gives us the image URL
Oh,
to
I
the
didn't see
poster.
that here.
I'm gonna open. Oh wait, I should
Yeah.
probably open that in a new tab.
Oh, it's.
Yeah, so see, it gives us an image URL to the poster.
Oh, no, I'm talking about in the assignment. I didn't see it until now.
Okay. Okay, go back.
Should I copy this?
No,
Oh yeah, we don't need that. Yeah.
we don't need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we see how this is working, right? The only thing, scroll down a bit, Sam. So the only thing that's in an object is the ratings, right? And let's go up to the ratings. And we can see this is what? What data structure is this for the ratings? Everyone? An array of objects, right? And which rating do we want specifically? Does it ask? Say that?
No.
It just says retrieve the rating data.
Rating data. Okay, so we're going to put all three. And here's how we're going to do it. Let's
A
go
for
back.
loop. Oh, I'm not thinking. Yeah, back.
You're not supposed to think. You're just
So back to the code.
to the code.
Yeah.
Okay,
To the left.
so we did that. That was a good first step. And also log the response. Now we have the response. We can get rid of that. So we're going to want to create a div to hold the data. Anyone remember how to create a div in Paper? $sign. Okay, good first step. What comes next? Parenthesis. What comes next? Quote. Right, and we're gonna give it the H. So the first thing, because Sam is still thinking now, so we tell him.
Open paragraph.
Open paragraph, right?
Open. Oh. Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a new div. So what does he type after the open paragraph bracket? Div, close paragraph bracket, close. Parentheses. Okay.
We're not offending you guys, we're just saving it as a variable.
So we just save it as a variable, and we're gonna call this what? What would be a good name for it? No, we want to give it a little bit more descriptive name than div, I think.
It's movie container.
Movie container, camel case. Equals, space, what's missing at the end? Semicolon. Okay, next line, retrieves the rating data. So how do we do that? We're gonna set that as a variable too, right? Okay, so what does he say? Everyone tell me. Saying you're not, you're just not thinking.
Oh.
Space.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to. Space, rating. Okay, now what?
Equals.
Oh, they capital
No. Isn't
R.
it?
Yeah, response lowercase, rating is capital R.
Oh, okay.
Response dot rating.
Is that capitalized?
Yes, the rating part is capitalized.
Okay.
Okay, what's at the end, guys? Semicolon. Okay, what's the next part? Creates an element to have the rating.
Ratings is plural.
Wait, what?
The response.
Oh, okay, so the ratings were the one part that have an object. Yeah. So you're right. So it's an array. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna construct all three. So what do we do? So what data structure is that? That we just saw for the rating? Go back to it, please. Yeah, it's an array of objects. So how do we get out the things in an array? What do we? Yeah, but what if we want every single thing? What if we want to go over every item in the array and get it out one by one? It's going to be a for loop, right? So let's go back here and tell Sam how to make the for loop to get out the ratings.
For parentheses. Bar, I equals 0. How do you call it? I less than
Oops.
response dot ratings automatic.
I hit a thing. Click, please.
I'm gonna get you guys a mouse and keyboard.
Oh, your shift is sticky.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
got that sticky piece thing.
Okay. So I is less than. Sorry.
Wait, isn't it responsive?
Yeah.
No, we saved it as a variable.
Okay.
We didn't have to do that part, but we did. Okay, what's next? Semicolon. What's the last part of this, guys? Everyone.
Wait, but make sure the ratings is spelled the same.
Parentheses.
Like with the not.
Rating.
Well, we're just referencing this.
Yeah, but you could make it plural. She's right. You should make it plural to just be less confusing. We don't want to confuse ourselves.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, you were right. Even though you were confused. Okay, so somebody said curly brackets, right? That's what we need next.
Yeah.
Okay, curly brackets. Okay, so what's next after this, guys?
We got to create the actual div that's gonna hold it. We actually created.
No, I think, well, yeah, let's create a
We have to
div.
create them again because we have 3 inside the rating.
Yeah, so,
Can we just
yeah, so I like that idea. I think here's what we said. Here's what they said. I think this is what you guys said. And correct me if you're wrong. We're going to make another container div. Our movie container div holds everything about the movie, right? And then we're going to make another container that's just going to hold the rating. Actually, we can put it all in the movie container. Let's do that for now. So for each of these ratings, we're going to put it into an element like a p tag and then put it into our container, right? So let's do, so how are we going to do that? Yeah, so the first thing is going to be what? $sign?
Parentheses, quotation marks. Open up, tag. Close. Parentheses. Dot.
Movie containers.
Yeah, but you have to do dot HTML, dot text, you have to set the text of that P element.
Yeah.
To ratings,
Yeah, so get rid of,
bracket I.
yeah,
So what am I?
get rid of that append to parentheses.
Put it before the
Yeah.
others.
Dot
Tell them
text. Parentheses. And you're gonna do ratings. Bracket, the square bracket. I. Bracket, parentheses.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be a dot. Because it's an array of objects, right?
Oh, yeah, because it has the source and the
Yeah.
rate.
So let's go back to our data and we'll see. So it's got the source and the value. So we're probably going to want to make it what? Source colon value. So it'll be like Internet Movie Database. It's a 8.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 87%. Right? Does that make sense? So let's see if we can tell Sam how to do that.
And both are gonna go inside the same paragraph source.
Yeah, because they'll be on the same line. It'll just be like this colon this.
The word source.
Is it capitalized?
No, lowercase.
Was it lowercase?
I don't
I
know.
think it was capital. Let's go back and check. Sometimes we don't remember things. We gotta go back and check. Yeah, it's capital. And you can use alt tab too, Sam. If it's a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Dot source, capital S, and then what's next?
Plus, cross, quotation marks, space. Or actually, you don't need a space, then go back and do colon, space, close quotation marks, plus.
Rating. Bracket I, bracket dot. Dot.
Yeah, it's done.
Is this making sense to everyone? And feel free, everyone, to please like ask questions. If one person knows the answer and you don't get why we're doing it that way, please stop us and ask the question.
Dot append to.
What? No, go away, shift. Dot.
Movie container.
Quotation marks, it's an ID. Hashtag.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't give it an ID. Wait, I'm not supposed to be thinking.
Yeah, no, yeah. So you just type in movie. Tell us. In quotes or no? No quotes. Okay, so that should add the movie, right? At this point. Okay, so I want to switch it up so we don't just have one driver the whole time. So let me open this page since I know how to use it. Thank you. Round of applause for Sam. You're an awesome teammate. Awesome driver. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open this page now because only I know how to use my janky laptop. Okay, working. So we are running kind of close to being out of time, so we're going to have to do this pretty quickly. Okay, so let's see. Does this work? What happens when this... Wait. Oh, we forgot to save it. Huh? No. No, because the reason we don't need that, that's a good question. Let me answer that because I'm sure other people have the same question too. So he said in a lot of cases, we have to give things a class or ID or select them by a class or ID. So here we're just making a div tag and we're setting a variable to be a reference to it, right? So we know this reference points to this div. So we don't need to give it a class or an ID or anything else to identify it by because we already have set this reference to it for now. But again, many ways to skin a cat. Oh, wait, but I did append it, right? Oh, no, we haven't appended the div. Okay, so I'm not, let's get a new driver. Who wants to be the driver? Oh my God, somebody drive.
I'm gonna create like a random.
I'm gonna start picking. Yeah.
With an API. Yeah.
I think we might have.
All right, yeah. Who's it?
Next class.
Next victim.
Dad likes to do that.
Yeah, sorry. I'm
Where
gonna
are
have
we?
a mouse and keyboard for you guys next time.
Creates an element. We just got out of the for loop. Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
Okay.
All right. So.
Okay, guys. So let's see what to do.
Find the ID on the HTML.
Okay, find the ID on the HTML.
Okay, so.
Wait, so what div are we going to put this inside of? We're going to actually, so.
I was thinking movies view.
Yeah, so you have the movie view div. You want to put it right underneath, right? Okay. So here is how I would do this. I think.
To the bottom.
Well, no, because we want it to go right under the movie. So here's the way I would do this, and you guys can tell me if you think this makes sense. We will basically put, the way we're doing this now, we're taking a button, we're making a button from each item in the array, right? And then we're putting that into a div somewhere. If we want to put this information next to it, it might make sense to have a wrapper div that goes around each button, and then we can take that information and put it inside the wrapper div for that button. Does that make sense to everyone?
Each button will have the information next to it.
Yeah, so each button will have the information next to it. I'm not sure if that's the way they wanted us to do that in this exercise, but let's go ahead and do it that way. So if we want to wrap the div in, if we want to wrap the button in a div, how do we do that? We go back up to the for loop. Guys, can we?
You append it to the for loop div.
Yeah, so let's go up to where we're making the buttons.
Yeah. The buttons.
Yeah, the for loop, the Ajax.
So you can just put the div in the.
And you can use the arrow keys. People were having more.
Yeah. Buttons viewed out append.
Keep going. Or just do find and type in for.
No, it's not.
Is it not there?
Yeah, hit.
4.
Yeah, for, FOR, space. Yeah, space opening parenthesis. Okay, so there it is, I think. No, okay.
I can
next
keep
one.
going.
Next one, yeah.
Render buttons right here.
Okay, so the next one right there. So let's scroll down to that part there, and we gotta go quickly here, guys. So I'll try to stay focused. Okay, stop. I want you guys to get this. So we're making a button. So let's just put a div around that button. Is that making sense to everyone? What we're doing now, we're just putting a div around our button, and I'm just actually trying to get you guys to the point where we can do our work. So just inside of there, put a div open div tag in front of the button, and then closing div tag behind the button. So go over to where that code is, right before the opening caret bracket, one more over. And then type opening caret bracket div.
Wait, if you do it like that, div,
yeah,
and then close div and one button inside, you don't need to put the closing button tag inside the two divs? It automatically knows?
No, you need to put the closing tag too. I was about to tell you.
On the div?
No,
Yeah.
I mean for the button. Okay, so you have to open, you already have to still close the button.
Yeah, button is self-closing. jQuery assumes that everything is self-closing, and button is like a self-closing tag. What you could do though is put a slash at the end after button, and that would make sure of it. If you're not sure, sometimes I do that just because I'm not sure. So put a slash after the end and button. Okay, good. Yeah, good question, Ryan. Okay, so now we have that. Now where are we calling our onClick function from?
I can look for
it. Yeah, look for click.
And now,
Just type in click.
where is it gonna put the text inside the bottom or inside the div?
Right here.
Inside the div. We're gonna make it put it inside the div. We could do either one. We can make it do whatever we want it to, but in this case, we're gonna want it to go inside the div.
No, but after we create that button, we have a dot text that creates the text inside the button. He's asking if it's going to put that dot text inside the div or inside the actual button.
Wait. Okay, that's a good question. Okay. Yeah, so let's go back up and fix that part first.
Where am I
So
going
go
to?
back to the for loop, wherever that for loop was. We're
For
gonna
the
go back to
buttons?
for loop. No, I wanted it to be next to the button. We could have just thrown it in there. That would be another option. I decided to do something a little bit.
So this is a for loop for the buttons. This is
Okay,
where
so
you
this
want.
is the for loop for the button. So your question, what, Nelson, was what? Is it, we're calling?
If that a dot text is gonna be inside the bottom or inside the div.
Yeah, so this reference points to the button, not to the div. So here's how we're gonna fix that. You're gonna go to a new line after there. And then you're gonna type A equals A dot find, and then in parentheses, the string button in quotes. So then,
like that?
Yeah. Yeah, so now we're setting A to be something else. So if you want to find something within another element, you use find. If you guys saw that, good for you. You learned something new about jQuery. If not, it's not really related to our lesson. This is just to get us to the point where we can solve it. And a lot of these exercises are really very kind of convoluted. I'm noticing that more. Yeah, the instructions are bad and the code is bad too. Okay, so now we're going to go back to where we were. Thank you for pointing out that problem, Nelson. Did everybody understand sort of the problem Nelson pointed out and how we fixed it? Okay, so let's explain this then. So we have our A. Before we were setting our A to be the button. And then we would do A.add class, so that would add a class of movie to the button. We do A.attribute, and that would add an attribute to the button. Now we wrap the button in a div. So if we didn't do this, then when we do A.add class, it would add the class to the div, not to the button. So then we added this line down here to make A equal to the button and not the div. So we're done with that part. Thank you for pointing that out, Nelson. Let's go back to our Ajax where we were before. If somebody could look at and see what line that was on. 48.
All right,
Okay.
perfect. We're here.
So yeah, keep going down to where we were, what we were just working on.
This is the for loop we.
Yeah, that's the for loop we created.
Uh-huh.
And then we're going to append it to the movie container.
Right.
So wait, but we're not going to append it to the movie container. Oh yeah, we do append it to the movie container. We got to append our movie container now to the parent element of our button that was clicked. So how are we going to do that? We know to get the HTML element that was clicked, and on clicking that we do what? You guys remember that part?
This?
Yeah, let's see if I can nothing. Does anybody else remember that part?
Display the poster.
Are you like intentionally confusing us?
We're crashing. Reboot.
Power cycle. Sam. No, I'm just kidding.
Funny.
No. So what are we gonna do, guys? How do we get the button we just clicked on? If we want to like add a class to a button we just clicked on, if we want to change something about a button we just clicked on, how do we do that? It's does everybody over here remember that? $sign this. Like if we have a button, we want to like turn a button green when we click on it, we use the $sign this, right? Are you guys getting that? Who doesn't understand what the this and the jQuery function does? Raise your hand. You guys all understand it. Who does understand? Raise your hand. Okay, so a lot of people. Yeah, so this is a reference to the element that was clicked. So like if we wanted to make the thing that was clicked turned red, we would do this.css, like background color or something. Right? What? Okay, guys, let's try to focus because we don't have much time left. So what's going to be next? So we know now we have this selected. What if we want to select the parent element of that? So what do we want to do, guys? I want everybody to focus for a minute on the current thing that we're doing, okay? Because there's lots of little rabbit holes we could go down. There's lots of stuff we could talk about. I want us to focus on one thing at a time. So right now what we're trying to do is put this thing. We just created this p tag that has all the ratings in it, right? You guys remember when we did that? Right. Now we want to take this. We already put it inside our movie container div, right? For each of them. Now we want to take our movie container div and put it in that div tag that wraps around the button we just clicked. So for the button we just clicked, there's going to be a div tag wrapping around it. We want to take our new p tag, or our new movie container div, which we just put the p tags for the ratings in, and put it in the wrapper for the button, right? Does everybody understand that problem?
Right, movie container div into button div.
Into the div that wraps the button.
There it is.
So we have this. That's the first step. What does our $div get us? It gets us the button element, right? Does everyone understand that? And guys, let's like try to focus on what we're doing now. Keep this side conversation because they are distracting. No. So how do we do this, guys? .parent. Okay, so we type this .parent, and now is that a method or a property? Do we think this .parent? Property is one guess out of two. Like property is, yeah, true false has to go. Yeah, no, parent is a method, so we're gonna type .parent, and then this gets us what? What do we have right here? Which HTML element will that line return? Yeah, it'll be the parent element of the div. It'll be our wrapper div, right? So we have that. Now, what are we going to do with this wrapper div? Now we have it.
We're gonna append
Movie container.
Yeah, exactly.
Do we need anything inside the parent?
No, because there's only one parent, right? Every element can only have one div that wraps it. You can't have two parents. You can have many ancestors, but there's only one parent.
What we refer to the grandparent.
Yes.
Use parents and decide this is party.
Parent,
or if you want an ancestor, there's a way to do that too. You can have a filter if you want to get the ancestor that matches a CSS selector string. You can do that. You can do pretty much anything you want to with jQuery. There's all kinds of methods and stuff you can use. It's all available everywhere. If I want to find out about these jQuery methods, where do I go? jQuery documentation. Right. So let's test this out. We're going to get a new driver. Let's give our driver a hand. Okay. So I'm going to refresh this. Hopefully it will work. Okay, so it's not working. This will happen to us a lot. Do we save?
Yeah, you have, this is incorrect.
What do you mean?
Because this, you're in a callback function, so this is referring to the jQuery object, not, you know.
Oh, right. Okay, so guys, let's all focus together for a second here. So we were in the wrong place when we were doing this, right? We're going to want to, so here's what the problem is. So if I did this here in display movie info, then it would point to this. So now we're in a scope. We've run into what we call a scope problem, right? So how are we going to fix this? Would anyone like to take a guess? Would anyone like to come and drive? Okay, wait, the driver has an idea? Well, let's see when you drive first. Now you're a passenger. You can take what we need to drive. Anyone? Come on, guys. Nelson. Woo.
Woo, Nelson.
Nelson. And by the way, everyone, this driving thing is probably one of the easiest things you'll do when you're in here. You don't have to think at all. So.
Oh, life coding is what?
What?
You always say life coding is what?
Well, yeah, but that's only when you have to think about it and when you're doing both parts. Okay, so what are we gonna, Jose?
How are we gonna say var and then name the var self?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so let's say var. Let's not name it. Okay, self actually has a specific meaning in programming, which is why I would not call it that. But let's say, or we could make it even easier. We could get the parent div. We could make a variable called wrapper, and then just copy that line of code on line 60. This dot parent wrapper, and then you're going to want to type in what we have on line 60. You won't copy and paste it. Just type $. Somebody tell them what to type to get the parent of the button we just clicked on. Does anyone remember? We just did that part. How do we get the parent of the button we just clicked on? $, this, no quotes, because this is contextual. This is a keyword in JavaScript, and then dot parent. Close parentheses. And what comes at the end? Semicolon. Semicolon. And then, so now we're going to go back to line 60 and correct that. So instead of this dot parent, we're going to replace that with what? Wrapper. Okay, awesome. Now let's go to Chrome. If you just click on Chrome at the bottom, save it first. Sorry.
Which is the command to save here?
Just do S. It's Control S.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, refresh. Let's see if that works. Yay! Yes. Awesome. So what do we want to do? We know doing the rest of it, we did the hardest part. We did the reviews, which were in a different type of data structure. So that was the hardest part, right? So do you guys want to see if we can do the other ones? Maybe get someone up here that's a little bit less familiar, that hasn't quite wrapped their heads around it yet. Maybe someone who... I'm not going to pick anyone. You can come up when they're ready. Somebody? I already did it. You want to do it again? If no one else wants to do it, I'll do it.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah. It's more fun being down here telling people what's. All right, come on, somebody. Lauren?
I get nervous when people tell me what to type and make a lot of typos. Can't guarantee
Yeah, I do the
a lot of
same thing
typos.
when people are looking over my shoulder. So you're going to go back to the code. It's that little black square thing. Okay, so we know how we did this for the, and yeah, use the arrow keys to track that. So we're at like what, line 60? Yeah, so now we have our ratings. What else are we going to put in? The poster, that would be a fun one, right?
Sure.
So Sam should be excited about that. So let's figure out how we're going to do this.
Where's the property for fostering the
Okay, so that's a good point. Let's go, if you could, Lauren, go back to Chrome, and we're going to look at the JSON data again. So go to the last tab. I think it's the last tab on the end. No?
Oh, it's the poster.
Oh, maybe okay, so go to the second to the last tab and then hit back. And that's how we got there, I think, yeah. Okay, so we have ratings. You can like collapse. Oh no, just go up. So it's dot poster. So everything else is just the name you'd expect it to be with a capital letter at the beginning, right? So we can just remember it that way and it kind of just makes sense. Right, guys?
Right.
Okay, so if you could go back to the code.
Would it make any difference if those keys, the properties didn't have quotation marks around them? Would not use them as variables or as properties?
Wait, so say that again?
No, go to the JSON.
Yeah, back to the JSON.
You see how it says title in quotation marks, year in quotation marks?
Yeah, then they would be variables. Everything has to be a string because there are no variables defined in the scope of the JSON. It's not really JavaScript. It's JavaScript objects is a data format, so everything has to be a string. If it didn't have the quotes around it, it basically. So yeah, so it just basically break.
But again, if let's say I have an array inside that JSON, and I want to specify that one of the properties is one of the elements of that array. That possible? For example, let's say I have a list of possible questions for the game that we're doing in the trivia game, and I want one of these questions to be the right one, and I will refer to that question.
Oh no, you can't put a reference to another part of the JSON inside the JSON. No, it doesn't really work that way. Good question, though. Stop. Okay, so we see how this works. Let's go back to our code, please. And so what is Lauren going to type? Should she be down there, or should she be up before we put it? We append the wrapper.
We have to do it inside the Ajax.
We have to do it in. We are inside the Ajax. We're inside the thing.
See that wrapper dot append is inside the Ajax.
Yeah. See, it's inside the then. See the dot then and the function response. That's the Ajax.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So, but is she going to do it before we append the wrapper or after we append the wrapper?
Before.
Before, right? So we're going to do what? Go up
inside the for loop.
No. We're just adding another thing, just the same way we added the ratings. We're just going to add the poster too.
The for loop really did because we had.
Yeah, because we had to add that extra div. Now that's there, so we don't have to.
This scrolling thing is not working, I think.
Yeah, you have to just know how to use it. Kind of. My laptop sucks. Sorry. Yeah, I should.
Where do I go?
Okay, so what line were we on? 60. So where is she going to go? Tell her where to go, everyone.
Right above wrapper append.
Yeah, right above wrapper append. Depending if we wanted to put it before the ratings or after. Were you thinking it would go before the ratings, Madison?
Oh, no, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it can go there. That's what I was thinking. But it might look better, like visually, if the poster were on top and then you have stuff at the bottom.
You've got 5 minutes, man. You're gonna add this to it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see if we can get this done in the next 5 minutes. Tell her what to do. We're doing basically the same thing, guys, as we did before. We're just making a P tag. We're appending it to the movie container. So is she in the right line, first of all, or is she going to go up one?
Above wrapper dot
Okay,
append.
go 2 rows and press enter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
Good.
now from there to poster.
Response dot post.
What are we doing now?
$.
We're adding a poster. What are we doing?
Wait, so how do you define it over there?
What?
Quote,
No, we put it in the image tag too. You're right.
Aaron,
Uh,
sorry,
It's a string. It's the URL for the image is a string.
No, last time.
I think we are. I think we're making progress. So we're gonna make an image tag.
IMG.
Yeah, IMG. Then that's it, right? We close it.
And close it and close
And then
it.
add the source, do the attributes right for the source. Although in many ways it's skin a cat, once again. Okay, so then what's the next part, guys? To set an attribute, we do what? ATTR sets an attribute, right? You guys all know that part?
So open parentheses, quotation,
SRC.
SRC.
Wait, say that louder.
SRC. Close quotation. Comma.
Open quotation.
In the.
Wait, no, we don't need that. We need
No, but don't we just need a URL?
I have to find it on the JSON file.
Response.post. It's response.post.
Oh, response.post.
No, but so.
Attribute source. So source takes, or attribute takes two arguments, right? What are they, guys? The name of the attribute and then the thing that we're setting it to. So what is the name? Right? And then the value. So it takes two things, the name of the attribute and then the value. So is response.poster the name of the attribute we're setting? No, right? It's source. So we're going to go to the beginning. Tell her what's right.
So retype the SRC basically.
Yeah, so source, comma, response.poster, and everything's capitalized. It's going to be a capital P.
So it's titled.
I'm getting there.
Faster.
Don't give her pressure.
Don't be kidding me, Larry.
We can append it right there.
Right, yeah. And right there, before we even put the semicolon, he's right. We can do what? Dot append to, and then
No, movie container.
movie container.
Oh, okay.
No, it goes in the wrapper. No, it goes in the wrapper. The wrapper is the thing that wraps the button, so we're putting it in there, and then we're putting that thing.
Are you guys sure?
Yeah, I'm wait.
Yeah. And wait, the wrapper is already there, so we don't even need to append the wrapper. I was just thinking that part, right? The wrapper part is already there. So we already are putting that div, the wrapper div, inside the HTML, so we don't have to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so take out that line 61. I'm sorry if this is confusing for you guys. We have precious little time. Let's see if in the last minute we can get it to work.
Oh, that
Wouldn't
did not
be
work.
awesome? Okay, come on. Oh my God, you're so close, Lauren. Save.
Save.
Alt
Can I do
tab.
that? Damn it, I can't do that. Alt tab. Wait, how do I save in this computer?
Okay, so we're into overtime now. Okay, so my computer.
I'm just gonna
Sorry.
let you take
Yeah, all right. Awesome driver, Lauren. Yay. Okay, are we going to get this to work, guys? Can we do it? It's 9:30. Can we do it before 9:31? Click the button. No. Didn't work. We got an error? Wah, wah. What's wrong?
I did. Look, when I tried to save it.
She did? Movie container. Let's see if this part works. Wrapper.append movie container.
But we haven't appended the image or anything.
Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah. Okay, so dot append to wrapper, yeah. So a wrapper is the parent of this, which should already be there.
Right, but the ratings didn't show.
Yeah, so let's see. I think we've got it fixed. So let's take this one step at a time. Okay. Yay! Okay, and now to just satisfy my curiosity, I think when I take out this line, it should still work. What?
No, because Mr. Fields' movie container contains the ratings.
Oh.
It's gonna print the poster.
Wait. Oh, yeah, movie container contains the rating. Okay, yeah, so we did need that part. Sorry, I got a little confused. It happens. Okay, guys, so how did we feel about that?
Don't do it again.
Don't do it again? Really? What do you think? I thought it worked pretty well.
In the end.
Yeah, I think we need more practice with it.
It
does take a little long, but the good part about it is it gets us working as a team, right? So that way it gets kind of our creative juices all flowing together. Like one person might know one thing, one person might know something else, so now this way we get all the answers and stuff.
I'm just going to plan to give a class assignment that directly correlates with our homework.
With no ambiguous instructions.
Yeah, this pretty much directly correlates.
Yeah,
So you
the
have
addition of
answer.
the button, but like finally.
Right, and you'll have this solved exercise when you go home. So we are in overtime. Are there any questions? Anything anyone would like to add? Any words of wisdom? And yeah, we'll get me on Slack, post in the Slack channel. Guys, give yourselves a round of applause.